Oh man, coming up, an interview with one of the defining rock voices of the 70s and 80s. He joined a band after they'd already had a couple of hits, but they weren't exactly established. But after he came aboard, man, they were unstoppable with a two-singer attack that made them twice the threat, especially with today's song. An all-time classic rock magnum opus. It came from the images in the singer's head from old westerns that he watched as a kid. And he came up with a famous a cappella part that wasn't planned at all. The producer just pulled the music out after it had been recorded, and the band all looked at each other in disbelief. Then it was tacked on as the B-side to a song the label thought would do well, but DJs loved this B-side. They turned it over, and they made this song a rock classic. Up next, a true rock legend breaks down his most famous song. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. I'm really excited about today's episode. You know, if you remember using pixie sticks in a nefarious way, you'll dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Some people used to snuff it. It's crazy. Make sure to subscribe below right now because you're going to get interviews and parts of even today's interview that you won't get here on the channel. And so you can check that out. Click below to get there. It's time for another edition of our show, Revelations, where featured artists take us for a deep dive behind the greatest songs and greatest albums. Truly information, stuff you won't find anywhere else. Every time you hear this, you know you're in for an epic sonic experience.
Oh, mama, I can hear you a-crying.
One of the greatest openings ever, right up there with Carry On Wayward Son. Of course, I'm talking about Renegade by Styx, their most streamed song ever. More than Come Sail Away, more than Mr. Roboto, more than Too Much Time on My Hands. Renegade has become the stuff of a legend, and that a cappella opening, it wasn't planned. The song was actually a B-side to start with. DJs turned it around and it became a smash. Coming up next, Tommy Shaw from the band tells the story of crafting and recording this true rock classic and why Adam Sandler loves it.
Stop looking at me, Swan!
Plus, he gives us the goods on Styx's epic new album. It's a great one. Let's get into it.
Well, Pieces of Eight, that was a real breakout for your songwriting as a lyricist. It really manifested on that LP. 3 singles from the album were your compositions. I want to talk about one of the greatest classic rock songs of all time, Renegade.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the law.
Song that's a staple. I mean, you won't go an hour anywhere in the United States without playing on radio. It's one of those songs, you know. Tell me about that, because that's first a story of a man who's committed a crime. He's headed to the gallows to die. And some people, because it's such a great rock song, so epic, sometimes they may miss that part. But tell me about that song, how it came about and what it's about.
I was listening to the Tales of Imagination, Edgar Allan Poe, and there was a song called The Raven. So I figured out how to play that on the piano. So once I had the chords, I said, well, what if I change it or, move them around a little bit? And Renegade just kind of wrote itself after that. So I wrote the verses on the back of an A&M album sleeve, took it to the band, and the band said, that's good, but it needs to rock. And so everybody was ready to rock. Imagine what it sounded like to us when we played it the first time. All of us were like, what just happened? It's a great band song. It's past all my imagination. But for us, it was just, once we got it into song form, that's how we see it. That's why we save it for the end, because it's just turn it over and empty out everything you got.
If my memory serves me correctly, we started this night out rocking this joint, and we're not through yet!
Well, I remember you saying that you're at the piano and you started out with, just, oh, Mom, I'm in fear for my life, never been in trouble with the law, didn't know where it came from, So it just kind of just amazing how that magic happens when you're at a piano and it comes out.
Yeah, I just had the little movie going on in my head. That goes on today.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the law.
I have some kind of music playing in my head all the time. Not necessarily great music, but it's there.
The acappella intro, I read that was a happy accident. I just read that haunting vocal wasn't planned to be acappella. When you guys were singing it, though, Barry Mraz muted it, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, that's it," you know.
Yeah.
Oh, mama, I can hear you a crying, you're so scared.
Well, that was it. We did the 3 parts, and then we just sang. The 3 of us got around the microphone and sang it like that. And then I sang the song. Then we went up a 5th or octave or something and did that breakdown at the end. And it happened really quickly. You know, we had the music track, and then put JY put a mic on his guitar amp, and he did the rest for the solo at the end, which is also epic.
Well, on the recording of Renegade, you belted out the war cry, or the scream before saying "the jig is up, the news is out, they finally found me." How did that come about? Was that improv, or was it?
Dennis DeYoung improv that, because he could growl in his voice and have it play a note. I never could. To this day, I can't do that. Somebody in the band will do it. But Dennis was the first one that I heard do that. And from that point, it sort of answered, what's this song going to be like? So it was like opening up the barn door and lighting a firecracker.
Well, the guitar outro, like you said, the JY, it balanced a gritty Western narrative with a modern guitar lick. Very difficult to pull off, but it just made it that much more perfect.
Yeah, but it also proved to us that things don't always have to be the same. You know, you can do variations of things and do something that you hear in your head that maybe you've never heard before. That's why you have to try stuff. What we always said was, let's don't poo-poo the idea until we play it and try it. Because you never know. Along the way, something could click in it. And to this day, we've always had that rule. You know, let's try it before we throw it out the window. And that one definitely was not going out the window.
What did you feel that John's key contribution to on Renegade was from the drumming side?
Oh, John was an animal. That guy, he was a hockey player in school. So he was beefy, and he was not shy. And so he had his own style of playing the drums. It was almost like a combination of funk and jazz. And so I still never heard anybody play like him. And standing in front of him, which was always my position, was like come through there and you go like, what? I can't hear you. You know, I'm surprised I have any hearing left at all. Yeah. John was just fierce.
When Renegade became a hit, went to number 16 on the Hot 100. And though, you know, it wasn't a number 1 hit, but it kind of was, because I have a program called Number One in Our Hearts, and talk about a song that was much bigger than its chart position and was in some ways bigger than the number 1 hits of the year, of that year. That's how Renegade is. It's a song that, you know, that just has grown in notoriety throughout the years as a classic rock staple. And funny thing is that it was a B-side, right? It was going to be a B-side, Sing for the Day.
Yeah, watch out for those B-sides. Make sure you listen to the B-side. Fortunately, radio turned the 45 over.
I thought it was interesting that it was the B-side for Sing for the Day, because to me, it was absolutely should have been the A-side. What was the thought process on that? Was that the label, or was that the band, or just curious?
I think some people were afraid it was too heavy for their audience and whatever, but we always believed in it. All we had to do is go play it in front of the audience and, you know, ta-da.
What did you think when it got turned over by DJs? Did you hear about that? You guys were aware of it? We're like, oh my gosh, now it's the singles making its way up the charts and being played on radio.
We knew that radio was not necessarily a bunch of band guys sitting there making musical, judgments. There was a lot of things that go into getting the record on the air. It's hard for a band to have any effect on those rules, and people calling up and requesting it. Big thing. You can't deny when your audience is calling you up and saying, hey, play that. It was something that was made for us, and we took it seriously. We still do.
Adam Sandler, big fan of not only the song but of your band. I mean, he's used this thing in a couple of movies.
He has. You know what the deal is? His sister is a big Styx fan. He plays it for his sister, which I think that's doubly cool.
Well, Pittsburgh Steelers it took on a life of its own with Pittsburgh.
That began a love affair with Pittsburgh Steelers and us. They would do a collage of the visiting team just getting clobbered, almost on every quarter note. It threw people off for a while. I think it still does. And so I keep thinking, are they still playing it? Yeah, they are. To this day, people want to hear it. They show up with a Steelers shirt on and terrible towel, and they're throwing them at me, and I'm throwing them at the band. And yeah, it's one of those things. It's a very simple song, but I think you put all the parts together, and it gives you some kind of feeling, and it's a feeling that can be felt by everybody in the house.
Well, it is. It's classic rock royalty. I mean, it's like there's like 25 songs on classic rock that like are the greatest of all time. Your Stairway to Heaven, Don't Stop Believin', and Renegade is that song for Styx.
Well, man, sometimes it's hard to believe, because I'm the one that's out there trying to plunk, to get it out of the piano. And I'm so grateful that the Muse was with me that day.
Man, I love the new record. I think it's incredible. Circling from Above.
We just had rehearsal time somewhere, so we went in. You may not know this, but all those floating, dead pieces of rocket and boosters and all that stuff, they're all floating around up there, but everybody knows exactly where every one of them is. And each one has a serial number on it and a country that's in charge of it or responsible for it. And I thought, this is a junkyard in the sky. Well, I walked into the rehearsal and I said, maybe that's what this is. It's about a wasteland in the sky. Before the afternoon was up, we had really had a roadmap for what it was. This is, build and destroy. I knew a guy at NASA who built and designed and got the budgets for, built it and sent it up. And it was the one that went around Saturn for so many times where they eventually said that we're stopping funding, and he had to crash it into Saturn. I was talking to him around that area, and it was like he lost a child. They take it so seriously, and it took them a few years to get it even possible. It made it more human, where there's sensitive people who are putting their heart and souls into those things. I think that's what gave the whole album permission is there's emotions. It's not just people pushing a time card. People are very serious about what they do.
Well, tell me about It's Clear. I love that song.
It was something that I did in a basement at our house. I was just messing around. That sort of wrote itself. But it didn't, I had to figure out how to connect it to the other part of the song because it's looking for the deal that feels just made for us. All right, there's that, but how do you get it into a rock song? So that's where the band comes in.
I think it's the masterpiece of the album, in my opinion.
Really?
And this is what this record felt like. It felt like it was so cohesive.
Yeah, the part where Will comes in to sing, you know.
If you were to gift the world a double A side of the songs that you wrote that you would want people to remember, just 2 songs, what would that double A side be?
Renegade and Fooling Yourself.
Love it. And then last of all, looking back on your career, your personal life, everything combined, what are you most grateful for in this moment?
I'm grateful for my health, for my family. We have the greatest life. You know, we've gone through hard times when there were competing members in the band, and we got through that. We've had death in the family, and we are a family who has survived and thrived and had new family members who've just enriched what we've already gotten, and gives me it tells me there's still some more left to do.
Tommy's great. Make sure to leave us a comment about this classic rock classic. I can't say classic enough when it comes to Renegade. What are your memories of this song? Make sure to get the new Styx album, Circling from Above, right up here. Click at the link or the link below. It's amazing. I don't normally love classic bands' new material, but this one is really great. Let's have a great discussion below. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.